Korea on Tuesday stopped answering hotlines between the two Koreas that were reconnected only 2 weeks ago after a more than year-long silence. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un's sister Kim Yo-jong warned that they would have to respond to the drills by strengthening their own military, including their nuclear arsenal. In January, North Korea rolled some of its newest military hardware through Pyongyang's Kim Il-sung Square in a nighttime parade. The hardware appeared to include the country's newest and biggest submarine-launched ballistic missile, or SLBM.
At the same time, there's a way to do it right, and we need to embrace that and call things as they are. And Mr. Mayorkas seems to either lack the ability to do that or is willing to go to great lengths in an effort to deceive his constituency and his boss. I appreciate...
Absolutely. Yeah, you know, I have a shirt that says, "Man, I sure miss Reagan." And I wish Reagan was president today.
I'm right there with you. Absolutely, 100% with you.
Su diverso equipo legal son profesionales altamente calificados que hacen el proceso mucho más fácil para sus clientes. Si está buscando un abogado de inmigración en el que pueda confiar, llame a Ranchat Law Group para obtener un perdón, visa de matrimonio, familiar o su residencia. Elija a Ranchat Law Group 916-313-9052. 916-313-9052 o programe una cita en línea en ratchatlaw.com.
Especially when binge watching my favorite show, and by binge I mean half an episode, because it's a great mattress.
Find your mattress story at Mancini Sleep World's tax-free mattress sale. Enjoy big savings and we'll pay your sales tax. Visit sleepworld.com.
With the help of Cheerios Oat Crunch Almond, I get everyone's morning started with a smile. It has a delicious and hearty combination of the Cheerios you love, whole grain oats, and sliced almonds for an extra crunchy crunch. That's how I set the rhythm for a great day. Look for Cheerios Oat Crunch Almond in your local grocery store.
But don't take our word for it. Listen to what Christian Mingle members Ron and Sarah have to say.
I didn't have time to waste meeting pretty faces and then hoping that our core values would line up.
With Christian Mingle, we connected and built an amazing relationship on the strength of our common faith. It's the only way to find your one.
Have faith in God's plan. Visit christianmingle.com/radio today.
Welcome to the show. My name is Charlton with Big C. This is Charlton and Big C Sports, coming to you worldwide on the Big C Sports Network, on the #1 network in the United States of America. And Big C Sports has been voted the #1 sports show in the universe, according to Big C. And them good old boys across the country, I want to say, today's show is sponsored by your Northern California Cadillac dealers, home of the all-new Cadillac Escalade, the standard of the world. When you go by and test drive yours, tell them Charlton and Big C sent you, as well as a fleet of Cadillac cars never stop arriving. Also, all around the world, say Google or Alexa, play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors. You will hear, welcome to the show. I will introduce myself as the Sports Universe, and I really do appreciate the way things are growing with Big C Sports. ESPY-nominated Big C Sports All-Spare and Love and War. You can follow Big C Sports on iHeartRadio Podcast, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, Spotify Podcast, Podchaser, Speaker Podcast, so many applications, and I really do appreciate the way things have grown with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. Ready to have a smart TV? Oh, you'll be sitting there looking at a stock picture. Man, I love pausing, but I would never pause on our Veterans Crisis Hotline. They really are experienced helping veterans and their loved ones get help. And I really love giving help to our veterans. All you got to do is reach out and pick up the phone and call 800-273-8255. That's 800-273-8255. Or you can text 838-255. That's 838-255. If you're online, simply go to veteranscrisisline.net. That's veteranscrisisline.net. You can definitely get some help for our veterans and their loved ones. Also very happy to be affiliated with Valley Homes Weekly TV on Dish TV, DirecTV, AT&T Uverse, TV of the first place San Francisco Giants, and the Say Hey Kid, as well as the home run King Barry Bonds. When you reach out to them, just tell them Charlton wants World Series tickets. And just tell them Big C sent you. Our goal is simple: recruit 10,000 real estate agents and brokers all over this great country. Help them put people back to work, just like McDonald's does it. car dealerships are doing it. Nike's doing it. Sports teams are doing it. Watch TV and real estate work for you. 800-772-8624. If you're looking for opportunities in real estate, go to bigcsports.pacwm.com. Most of our loans are underwritten by Rocket Mortgage, the #1 lender in the country on the wholesale side. When you need a loan, don't just be sure, be Rocket Sure. All's fair in love and war. I want to say thank you to Xfinity Comcast TV and Comcast Spotlight for presenting Big C Sports to the universe. Just like in Genesis 1:3, God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones and say play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors all over the world. And I really do appreciate the way things have grown with Big C Sports. I also want to say this show is sponsored by Budweiser Zero. It has 0% alcohol, 1% on your game, 100% on your game, but 0% alcohol. All's fair, love, and war, and it goes great with the Big C Burger. It is a tasty burger, and it comes with exotic meats. It goes great with your Budweiser Zero that has 0% alcohol, 100% on your game. Has anybody ever had some exotic meat? I mean, sometimes it's a double entendre, but I know sometimes people say, hey, Charlton, why don't we just go down to Vegas this weekend and party? And I say, well, what's going to happen in Vegas once we get there? They all say what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. But from the look of some of my friends who have to go see the doctor, not everything stays in Vegas. You got to be careful when you travel. And you don't, what does Sam Jackson say with the American Express art? Don't leave home without it. This other thing, you don't leave home without it. Like wash your hands. Wash your nasty hands, as my mama always said, if somebody got into the refrigerator and didn't wash their hands. All fair and love and war. I want to make sure that on my show, on Big C Sports Podcast, SB nominated Big C Sports Podcast, the only black-owned sports show in the universe. No teleprompter, no script, no producer, and some people go, well, that's obvious, okay? No one with a plug in my ear telling me what to say. I don't have 5 script writers trying to write things down. I don't have 5 research teams. The only one that researches for me is myself and my son, Malcolm, and sometimes Big C. All's fair and love and war. My platform this year is I want to reach out and touch somebody's hand, make this world a better place if you can. They go down in front, quiet. You know how people yell at you when you don't seem very good. I was doing my best to reach out and touch somebody's hand, but I do want to reach out with a message today because Big C Sports will be covering more NFL football in 2021, the ESPY nominated Big C Sports Podcast, and I'm going to win. And all I ask anyone judging, take Big C Sports, take any other podcast or broadcast talent in the universe, put us naked. You don't have to put us real naked, but you know, naked without all the teleprompters and producers and all the screenwriters and people with that plug in your ear when you're watching it on television. You see a lot of guys, men and women, that have a plug in their ear. That's a producer telling them what to say, feeding them information. All I got in my ear is some earwax that I couldn't get out with my Q-tip. I don't know why they made Q-tip. All that does is push the earwax in. I need something that pulls the earwax out. Get out! Like the movie Get Out. Get out, earwax! It's all fair. Don't laugh. Everybody got some earwax. You probably got some right now if you plug into your ear. Don't act like I'm the only one that got some earwax stuck up in his ears. Everybody know they got some. I do a test. Everyone right now, you got 5 seconds. Take your fingernail, rub it inside your ear as deep as you can, and see if you pull off some earwax. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. How many found earwax? Everybody found earwax. I got some Big C earwax. It's a tasty earwax, and it tastes unlike any other earwax in the universe. It's all fair, level war. It's a great day for me. It's August the 12th, 2021. What a great day. Before I get into sports, I want to talk about some college football, of course. We got some NFL talk. I love doing Hit Deep Major League Baseball. That my good old boys at ESPN, they've been doing the Hit Deep version. I turned on a radio program this morning about 3 o'clock in the morning, and I told you I don't sleep. I was taking a nap at 3 o'clock in the morning. I don't sleep. I was preparing for my show because I really don't sleep. I get about 3 hours of sleep every night because I want it so bad. What did Keith Jackson say in the song? I want it. He wanted it so bad. He didn't sleep. Keith Jackson, there's a great Keith Sweat. I want it. I want that girl so bad. Okay, don't throw stones. I don't sing like Keith Sweat, but neither do you. But I did the best I could. But people go back to the song. I want her. It's about wanting something so bad. Something that's so bad, like a thunderstorm. Like in Genesis 1:3, God wanted it so bad. God wanted light so bad. God said, let there be light. And light appeared. Not just the light that you see when you're turning on the light at home, but the light that you see as far as the alchemy that comes to you. The light that's caused manifestation. Manifestation is a light. There are things that come to you, your higher self, the subconscious mind. The ancient thinkers called it the pineal gland. It's how God communicates with us. But I want to say, I'm the only sports show that's not afraid to talk about God. A lot of people are, because there are a lot of atheist-run stations. They'll talk about the devil, or they won't even mention God, but I won't. In the King James Version of the Bible, I was talking about it with my ark. Everyone needs a Noah's Ark in their life. Noah's Ark got people through the flood. When you're going through the flood, remember this, young people, because I really want to reach out to young African-American people, and Caucasians too, but oftentimes mainstream already has open doors. It's a song, I come to you with open arms. Okay, don't boo me, just try to sing it. It sounds a lot better in the shower. But for mainstream, a lot of people that I know, when they go out into society, corporate America already has open arms. It's called cronyism and nepotism. Black people started a civil rights movement, beaten over the head at the Edmund Pettus Bridge. Many people were lynched. Emmett Till was lynched. When you had Jesse Jackson, Martin Luther King Jr., John Lewis beaten over the head because they wanted liberty and justice for all. And what happened after we got the civil rights? White ladies took up all the corporate jobs that black Americans are marching and being beaten up for. You can Google it. I'm not making this stuff up. Read the Kerner Commission. There was a lady on the TV this morning. Her name is Susan Kelsey Watson. She's a great actress, African-American woman. You just watch. There's a lot of things she's been able to do. But I'm just saying pay attention. Because sometimes people have to go through a metamorphosis just to get an opportunity that mainstream gets. And I'm telling young kids, especially going away to school, young boys and girls, the King James Version, it's just like sports. It's King James Version, Book of James, chapter 4, verse 2 and 3. It says, ye have not, because ye ask not. It's worth saying it again. Like we say, touchdown, home run, 3-point play. We can't wait to cheer for the touchdown. But you have not, because you ask not. What are you asking for that you don't have? And people might say, well, who am I to ask somebody? Big C Sports is signing a 7-figure contract for having the #1 sports show in the universe. We're on every continent on the planet, just like in the Olympics. And I'm a black man flying solo. And some people can't do a show without 20 people on the staff. I know that because I used to be one of them. You have not because you ask not. If there's anything you want in your life, I'm going to ask you a question. Do you hope that somebody reads your mind? That's number 1. Do you pray that somebody reads your mind? That's number 2. Or number 3, do you go to the King James Version, chapter 4, verse 2 and 3, and do you ask? You have not because you ask not. So start asking. The answer is either yes or no. There's no equivocation. You shouldn't have hesitation. Everybody's asking, can they buy a ticket to the game so they can see touchdown, home run, 3-point play? And 100,000 people will go to a football game and cheer for some young black boys running around playing football, knocking each other upside the head. And some of those men can't even get a job interview when they don't have on a uniform. You know I'm telling you the truth. I believe the truth will set you free. I'm not saying everybody's bad, but the society was designed for the masses of black men not to make it. But God says, you have not because you ask not. And when people say, well, who is this black man trying to tell me how to have something, talking about signing a multi-million-dollar contract, it's already in the works. And I thank Disney Corporation for that. They own ESPN. But I got to tell you this. It came from God. Because there are times in my life that I wanted to have a sports show since I was 8 years old. No one came to me and said, Charlton, we want you to have a sports show. Most all I've ever gotten in my life was, you have a great voice. I love the way you sound. I love the way you speak. You enunciate well. And oftentimes, at the same time though, there were people who criticize, say, oh man, you don't sound black. You don't sound black enough. because they have a connotation, oftentimes negative, of what black is. Black is everything. All life came from the African continent, from the womb of a black woman. You can Google it. Scientist Dr. Leakey, Dr. Louis S.B. Leakey, write it down. Dr. Louis S.B. Leakey, he opined that all life came from Africa. He went all over Europe, didn't stay long. Anthropology chased the roots of all civilization back to Africa, to the womb of a black woman. Now that black woman's kids are playing football, filling up all the football stadiums so people can cheer. Dr. Gregory Mendel, considered the father of genetics, opined the dark skin is dominant, light skin is recessive. The dominant gene can produce the recessive gene. The recessive gene, it cannot reproduce the dominant gene. That's Mendel. Google it. I'm not just sucking gibberish. I wanna say something that's important, because there are fans all over that give me pay homage. I want to pay homage to also, I'll just say Christina. I'll just say the first name that follows Big C Sports. And I was asking for live feedback. This is a live question that I asked. It was not scripted. It was not told what to say. But Christina's an athlete. And she mentioned, I like the part about black on black fighting, tearing each other down. And that's the facts. And nowadays, oftentimes, you want to get on TV? You want to be a black man on TV? On a sports show, just tear down other black men. They'll give you a job. Especially if you're a professional former athlete. They'll bring you on to make the other guy look bad. They won't bring you on to edify each other. So I thank her for that. She said it's really sad and we need to uplift one another. Also, the way you always show up for work and you never skip a day. I've never missed a day, not one. In the toughest days of my life, I never missed a day. I always post a Big C Sports podcast. That's why my sponsor can give me 7-figure income. Because I'm dependable. Just like that good old boy in the commercial, we'll leave the light on for you. They'll leave the light on for you. They can't leave the light on for you if you don't show up. I mean, if you don't show up, how you know they left the light on? Every sponsor all over this country, the guys that pay out tens of millions of dollars, the same sponsors that make the NFL a $15 billion entity. Big C Sports covers NFL. How much would they sponsor if they didn't kick off the game? If they didn't show up? Would they get $15 billion if they didn't show up? I show up every day. Also, I want to just thank Christina for paying homage. It's amazing. You never skip a day. You're motivated. I'm highly motivated. And people look up to you. That's how I got the ESPY nomination. It's not grandstanding, but it's a pretty solid dog that won't wag his own tail. I bought a dog one time. Would you believe that thing would not wag his tail? I kept saying, wag your tail. Come on, Fido. Fido, wag your tail. Fido, please wag your tail. Because I was a young boy, I didn't understand. Somebody had cut the tail off. It was a Doberman picture. I don't know why they cut the tail off a dog. But that dog, as much as it tried, it just had a little nub. His little nub was moving around. But it could not wag his tail because somebody cut the tail off. Isn't that what mainstream does to emasculate black men? They cut the tail off. They cut off the knowledge of where they came from, that they're kings and queens. They cut the tail off so many times that one of the most dominant black men, a two-time NBA MVP, NBA champion, will allow mainstream to go on TV and call him a freak. May as well call him the N-word. They call him a freak. I was talking to Clyde Jones about that. We are not freaks. That's when you put people in their place. You hit the brakes. All life came from Africa. I just told you. Dr. Leakey and Gregory Mendel, they opine that. So if black men are freaks, isn't everybody a freak? Since all life came from Africa, they don't call white men freaks. They don't call Jewish men freaks. At the opening of the 2021 Olympics, and I had them on Big C Sports for the opening, there was a Japanese citizen that had an anti-Semitic joke. It was about 30 years ago. They found out he was supposed to open the Olympics. Would you believe they told him, "You're fired"? They fired him because he insulted Jewish people 30 years ago. And the networks crowned the Milwaukee Bucks as NBA champions, and they probably call a black man a freak. No one got fired. They got applause. They got applause. And he has the dominant genes. But if you don't know who you are, then you'll take your pearls and throw them before swine, because you know no better. All's fair in love and war. I want to go back to praising Christina, what she said, because it was just, I'm not giving her last name, but when I say I'm going to do something, I do it. I don't mince words. She said, you're motivated, and people look up to you. It just makes me want to continue listening to you, the Big C Sports Podcast. I enjoy your input on reality of life. You are very knowledgeable and independent and driven. She left out good looking, so I might have to call her up and have her redact that message and put the good looking part on there too. Yeah, I gotta make sure we gotta re-edit that part. She meant to put good looking, but maybe she might have been using voice text. All fair level for. Hey, my grandmama said, you're the best looking baby I ever seen. My grandmama didn't have her glasses all the time, but I think she understood what she was trying to say. Every grandparent thinks their babies, that's the most beautiful child I've ever seen. She's like, Grandma, put your glasses on. It's all fair enough for her. I really appreciate Christina in that. And she said independent and driven. Driven to succeed. A lot of people, especially young black Americans and old black Americans, they need to look up to you, Charlton. The most important thing to me is everything you mentioned is actually true and not made up, because I'm real, because I keep it real. I'm not a perfect man. I have my own problems in life. God knows I have my own problems. That's why I'm always praying. My mama always told me to believe in everything that you want to be. You gotta be it. I want to also thank another friend of mine. I'm not giving out last name. Her name is Myra. She says you're awesome. And I appreciate that too. I'm just trying to say the reason Big C Sports Podcast, and I always ask people, I'm going to try to reach out throughout colleges throughout this country and ask them, is there anything that Big C Sports can do to you to make your dreams come true? Like Walt Disney said, when you wish upon a star, makes no difference who you are. Anything your heart desires will come to you. And I want young people to realize that. There was a time, like the Omega fraternity started in 1911. They produced the great Reverend Jesse Jackson. They produced the NBA scoring all-time leader, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, Lou Alcindor back in the day. They produced that. They produced the first black astronaut in Omega. They produced the first black man to write for the Pacific Fleet, the first affirmative action plan. Black man, Clyde Jones, he was just on Big C Sports Podcast. He said so many positive things about what I'm doing. Zariah Matthews from Disney Corporation, that's why I'm going to win the ESPYs Award. And I just say anybody, black, white, no matter what color, man or woman, all I ask is for the chance to compete. There are people doing what I do that make $100 million over 10 years, $10 million a year. They have producers, they have script writers. If they can't speak if the teleprompter breaks, they have producers and script writers and research teams. If those guys don't show up, they have no show. I don't have a script. I don't have a producer. Some people say, yeah, that's obvious, Charlton. We already told you that. It's all right. I can make fun of myself. I'm a work in progress. I have my own problems. Sometimes I even leave the toilet seat up because it's easier to find it in the dark. It's hard to find it at nighttime, so I lift it up. All you men understand what I'm saying. If you agree, can a brother get an amen? Amen. 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 If you agree, lift the toilet seat up, ladies. Leave the toilet seat up for men. You know how hard it is in the middle of the night when you got to go to the restroom and the toilet seat's down? You about flood the whole house. Big people leave the toilet seat. Open the toilet seat for men. Put men first for a change. But I really, you can laugh like what, but you ladies know it's true. Sitting down and closing the toilet seat. You know men got to get up in the middle of the night. We can't see. You going to put the toilet seat down? I want to talk about my ark. Everyone needs an ark, like Noah had an ark. Noah had an ark. And the great thing about an ark is the ark is always there. The ark helps you rise and shine. The ark can send you prayer in scripture. The ark can tell you about sports and how visualizing through God's manifestations and blessings and miracles. I'm not doing this show for me. Because I'm doing it because somebody needs to believe again, just like I was taught to believe. I want to just pray. I want to say something because the reason I have Big C Sports is because when I was about 8 years old, my mom had a record player. And it was a radio record player. A lot of old timers know what it is. It's amazing. I used to take the record player apart, and sometimes I couldn't put it back together again. And I thought, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. There's a song, I think I'm in trouble. I'm not in trouble. You know what Mama said? She said, baby, just take your time and do it right. Put it back together again. I used to always take that record player apart. You know, I never got it put back together again. But my mama always encouraged me, baby, just keep trying. Always pray. I want to do something that no black man in the universe will ever do on this show before we take the Big C pause. And I hope I don't leave anybody out. I grew up with my great-grandfather. We called him Pop. He played Negro League baseball. My great-grandmother, we called her Mamo. Her first name was Hattie on my mother's side. And then, of course, my beautiful mom and very handsome father. And I appreciate everything they've ever done for me. On my father's side, Grandpa Curry had a service station, 2 service stations in Oakland, California. He's also a pastor. That's where I get my fire and brimstone. He always said, boy, close that door. It's cold outside. He didn't say, hey, young boy, close the door. It's cold outside. He said, boy, close that door. It's cold outside. I ain't trying to heat the outside. But he was also very loving. I think a lot of people know what it means. Grandmother Alberta Curry, touched me on my forehead, said, young man, she called me by my nickname. There's something about you I love hearing you speak. It's like having an arc in life. To pray that all is well and give thanks to God. I'm telling young kids that go off to college, especially you young black kids, when I played college football, I realized a lot of the coaches that gave me mentorship, they were white men. Some were very, very good men. I mean, just that were very loving, very supportive, very kind until you stopped playing football. Then they had nothing to do with you. It's the truth. I'm not lying about this. I think a lot of other black men can tell you this because it's true. That's why oftentimes mainstream, when you see somebody on television, it'll be a former athlete that you recognize on TV because they made it to the top. So people love them because they made it to the top. When an athlete's in college, becomes an All-American, you can see them all over TV. Almost every black man you've seen on TV was a former athlete, and now he's an analyst. You'll find white men that never even played sports. They got into cronyism and nepotism, that good old boy network. So you say, well, Charlton, what's that got to do with anything? The reason you don't see a lot of black men who did not play pro ball on TV is because that's all they relate to the mainstream. Pejoratively, I'm going to say 9 out of 10. If I'm wrong, find me the African-American sports broadcaster who does not have a sports background at some level. They're very rare. There's a lot of white guys and women that didn't play sports, and they're on TV making $1 million. I'm saying this, if you found guys that did not play sports, I played sports too, but I got my own program. If you find guys that didn't play sports, oftentimes the reason you don't see them on TV is because the help stops here. You ever hear the buck stops here? The help stops here. They don't help you. They've used you up. Kind of like a prostitute. You give them all the money you can make for them, and now you're all used up. They go next. It's called recruiting. Now we have name, image, and likeness. Don't let people use you up. That's why I tell people Isaiah 54:17 that I talk about with my ark. We're manifesting $6 billion. Isaiah 54:17, no weapon formed against me shall prosper. Ephesians 3:20, God is able to do exceedingly and abundantly above all we can ask or think. You ain't going to hear that on any other sports podcast. We'll take the Big C pause. In the words of the great Arnold Schwarzenegger, former California governor, I'll be back. All right, we are back from the pause, also known as the Big C Timeout. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network, in the universe. iHeartRadio podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. There's so many apps you can follow, and I really do appreciate the way things have grown with Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports on Xfinity, Comcast TV, Apple TV, Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, and a lot of smart TVs all over the universe. I also want to say thank you to Xfinity, Comcast TV, and Comcast Spotlight for presenting Big C Sports to the universe, just like in Genesis 1:3. God said, let there be light. Open your cell phones and say it. Play Big C Sports Podcast. You will hear from our sponsors from all over the world. In fact, all over the universe. And I really do appreciate the way things have grown with Big C Sports. I thank everybody who's ever poured into my life, from brothers and sisters, family, friends, everybody. I had a great message come from my friend Dominic today. Gave me congratulations. He says, Charlton, I appreciate you for doing things the right way. You show what dedication and perseverance means. Again, I'm on vacation, but I'm still doing the show because I want that 7-figure contract, and it's happening as we speak. And I thank God for that. And sometimes it's like we don't want to go through pain. Sometimes people that say they love you will turn against you. That's called pain. I talked to a military friend of mine who talked about how they make a sword for a decorated general. You know, it doesn't start off as a polished sword. You know how it starts off? Piece of iron. And they got to shape it into place. They got to heat it. They got to mold it. They got to polish it into place. When it's done, it's a sword. And it's nice enough to be decorated in a beautiful uniform. With a 5-star general. He had to go through the fire. So when you're going through the fire, don't stop. Keep going. When you're lifting weights to get bigger, stronger, and faster, don't stop. Keep pushing. I was lifting weights outside last night at 12 o'clock midnight. 12 o'clock midnight. Because I couldn't sleep. So I said I may as well lift weights, and I was lifting weights at 12 o'clock midnight. I was bench pressing 300 pounds. And then I went down to 225. 300 pounds is hard, but 225 is a lot easier. But the point is I did it. At my height, I could bench press 405 pounds in college. I can't do that now because it's hard on the ligaments. But I'm telling young people, when you're going through the fire, don't stop. Just keep going. Keep going through it. When sometimes people that you think care about you, when they want to go, let them go. So something new can show up without the baggage. Everybody you meet has some baggage in their past. Everybody you meet has somebody that did them wrong in the past. There are people I've done wrong in the past. I apologize. I repent. Forgive me. You got to tell people when you're sorry. Some people's ego is so big they won't even say I'm sorry. I got one story before I go into because it may help somebody. I think I told it yesterday. I told it at the end of the show. Everybody has a Noah's Ark in their life. Somebody that brings you through the flood. Somebody that sees you drowning and they bring you through the flood. At some point in time, all of us are like the person trying to cross the street. We need somebody to hold our hand. Down goes Frazier. Down goes Frazier. Muhammad Ali, Joe Frazier, they fought 3 times. I told the story yesterday. They were fighting. Ali was floating like a butterfly. He was stinging like a bee. He was going to rumple, young man rumple. He was beating up on Joe Frazier. Next thing you know, his daughter, Layla Ali, jumps in the ring, and she helps Joe Frazier beat up her own father. And Ali was saying, what in the world are you doing? I'm your father. Like Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, I'm your father, Luke. So Layla Ali started helping Joe Frazier beat up Muhammad Ali. It didn't make any sense. People in the audience were saying, why would she help another man beat up her own father? You know, there are people in your life that will let in the enemy to cause harm to you and their children. No one would ever think that. But it happens. And everyone in their life, they know someone that did that to them. You may not like who's on your team. They may not like you. But whose side are you on? Good pitch. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. I love Major League Baseball. The girls love the long ball. And men love to hit deep. Today, A beautiful day, August 12th, 2021. Cincinnati's at Atlanta. And then when you look at pitching for Cincinnati, the big Vladimir Gutierrez, and he's doing his thing on the mound. Pay attention to him when you watch that game. There's another great game. The Yankees at the White Sox. The pitch. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. The girls love the long ball. And men love to hit deep. All fair and level. Well, the Yankees are 31-26 on the road. The White Sox are 38-20 at home. The great Tony La Russa is doing his thing for the Chicago White Sox. Andrew Heaney is pitching for the Yankees. He only has a 5.45 ERA, not that strong. And Lance Lynn is the home team pitcher for the White Sox. That good boy is 10-3 on the season. A 2.12 ERA. He's a flamethrower. He's a Jedi Knight. He was trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. So look forward to I don't give out scores, but I look forward to the White Sox winning that game. The pitch. Hit deep. Left field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. Toronto Blue Jays. They're at the Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim. Blue Jays are 31-26 on the road. And the Angels, they're 30-28 at home. The away pitcher, Jose Barrios, he has a 3.23 ERA. That means he's a Jedi Knight. He's a gunslinger, but not so fast, my friend. Most people, when they see a mouse, they get a mouse trap. And I heard that mice are attracted to peanut butter more than they are celery. You know how much celery I've raised to trying to catch a rat? Some people even invite a rat into their own home. Crazy, but it's true. Some people were invited a rat into their own home. A rat with a criminal record. It's a shame, but it's true. Come on in, a rat. Some people go pay $100 to see a rat down at Disneyland. I mean, I got free tickets for Disneyland, right, Zariah? I'll never have to pay for a Disneyland ticket ever in my life. And last I heard, I can take 5 people with me. I don't know, I did 5. I only got 1 or 2 friends. Oh, fair and level war. You give away tickets from Disneyland, you'll find some friends. The great Shohei Ohtani is more attractive than Mickey Mouse at Disneyland. He's 6-1 on the season. His ERA is 2.93. He's a flamethrower. He was trained by Obi-Wan Kenobi. Luke, I'm your father. That's what he says to everyone in the batter's box. 2.93 ERA, and he can hit deep. That good a boy. I already have him as my player of the year for Major League Baseball. Big C Sports Podcast, SPOP nominated. The great Shohei Ohtani, I'm voting you player of the year. You're not going to win the World Series, but player of the year. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend. All fan 11 war. San Diego Padres at the Arizona Diamondbacks. They're 26-26 on the road. The Diamondbacks are 21-35 at home. The great Yu Darvish is doing his thing on the mound for the Padres. He has a 3.43 ERA. That means he's a Jedi Knight. He's a flamethrower. He was trained by the great Obi-Wan Kenobi long ago in a galaxy far, far away. I also heard he eats the Big C burger. He knows it's a tasty burger. He knows it comes with exotic meats, and they're very popular down in San Diego. The home pitcher for Arizona Diamondbacks is Taylor Wheatner, has a 4.89 ERA. He's not a Jedi Knight, but he's a pretty good pitcher. I'm telling you, for the 2021 World Series, take me out to the ball game. Take me out to the crowd. I want some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. I don't care if I ever come back. I'm going to root for the Giants because they're going to give me free World Series passes. It's 1, 2, 3 strikes. You're out at the ball game. I love baseball, and I love acting like a little kid because my mother and father always tell me, boy, get outside. You're going to be singing that loud. And quit hitting baseballs in the house. My brothers, we had a baseball diamond in our backyard. My older brother built a baseball diamond, a pitcher's mound in our backyard. All my brothers made Little League All-Stars. And so we had a baseball diamond in our backyard, but across the street was a preacher by the name of Mr. James. He was fire and brimstone. You know how he was fire and brimstone? Because my brothers and I, we would pitch the ball in the backyard, The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, and we hear, we broke somebody's window. We break the pastor's window, and we'd all run to the house. And had I known he was fire and brimstone, because he said, "Blap, David, blappity, blap, blap, you blankety, blank, blankety, blanks, blanks, who the heck broke my window?" He was a pastor, but he was fire and brimstone. And of course, my mother always made us go, give our allowance money to pay for the window. We were hitting deep a long time ago, hit deep. We used to get grounded after we hit deep into the pitcher, Reverend James' window. He used to come up saying, "Sister Curry, would you mind if your boys turn the batter's mound the other way so they can hit the church instead of his house?" Man, it's all fair, love, and war. The Giants were the pennant. The Giants were the pennant. The Giants were the pennant. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run, McCovey Cole, splash down to McCovey Cole. The San Francisco Giants really love what they're doing. The Rockies are in town. They're 13-42 on the road. The Giants are 37-17 at home. German Marquez is pitching on the mound. For the Rockies, he's 3.36 ERA. But Logan Webb, that good old boy, he's a 3.19 ERA. He's a Jedi Knight. They're both a Jedi Knight. They both went to Jedi Knight training, the great Obi-Wan Kenobi. That Jedi mind trick. They did their thing on the mound, but I really love the Giants. I think Logan Webb with a 3.19 ERA, he's a flamethrower. There's no reason that the Giants won't win the World Series, or at least get to the NLCS. The Dodgers will have a lot to say about that because the Dodgers are also the pitch hit deep down at Sylvester Bing. Can't wait to see that series. But the Giants, they're the best team in Major League Baseball. In fact, they have a local station by KMBR, and they play "When the Giants Come to Town." Is bye, baby. It's all fair and love and war, the great Cooking Pipe. I remember doing some stats for the San Francisco Giants back in 2000 when they built that ballpark that Barry Bonds built. And it's amazing that they still make me pay for tickets to get in. I get in with free for my media pass, so I thank him for that. That media pass is good. All fair and love and war. Maybe this year I'll get in with Disney. That's a hint, Miss Matthews. The pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend, Washington Nationals, at the New York Mets in New York City. Yep, New York City. They'll leave the light on for you in the Big Apple. Sean Nolan was pitching on the mound for Washington. Marcus Stroman was pitching on the mound for the New York Mets. I don't give out score, but let's just say a lot of people are eating a Big C burger. It's a tasty burger, and it comes with exotic meats. And it goes well with apples, sliced apples. Don't eat the apple whole. The way you eat a Big C burger, you can chew 3 or 4 bites, depending on how big your mouth is. Some of you offensive linemen, you can eat the Big C burger in 3 or 4 bites. Most ladies, they need at least 15 bites to eat the Big C burger because it's too big. And it does taste better in your mouth than it does in your hand. But, there's a guy named Joey Chestnut. That good a boy, he took 3 bites to eat the Big C burger. It's a big burger, too. You got to hold it with 2 hands. Like a bat, you got to hold a bat with 2 hands. You got to hold that Big C burger with exotic meats. It's the exotic meats that get you all the time. You got to hold it with 2 hands. All fair and level war. Another game, the pitch, hit deep, right field, back to the wall, home run. Say hello to my little friend, the St. Louis Cardinals at the Pittsburgh Pirates. What a great game it was. Down to the final drop. It's like, how do you eat 1 bag of potato chips? You can't eat just 1 chip at a time. You got to eat the whole thing. It's like kissing somebody. If you kiss somebody, you don't just get 1 kiss. Unless you kiss your grandmother or something. Somebody else, you got your lips locked on. They got to call the fire department to pry people apart. So many people locking lips. What they say, Flip Wilson, loose lips, 6 ships. Be careful who you're loose lipping with. All fair and love and war. The great Sam Darnold. I think he's over that mononucleosis that he got from one of those New York City bars. All fair and love and war. What did Hall & Oates say? She's a man-eater. She only comes out at night. Men too, ladies. Men come out at night too. You got to be careful. It's all fair and love and war. Pray on people before you start lip locking. You pray and bless your food. Why not pray and bless who you're going to lip lock with? It only makes sense. You pray before you put food in your mouth. Pray before you lip lock with somebody too. It might just keep you safe All's fair in level war. The Pigs hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend, the defending world champion Los Angeles Dodgers, taking on the Philadelphia Phillies. What a game. Is it a foul ball or is it a strike? Strike one. Strike two. Strike three. Strike four. There's no such thing as strike four unless you're in Philadelphia. All fair 11 war. On the mound for the Dodgers, Mitch White. And then for the Philadelphia Phillies, Archie Bradley. In the Dodgers swirl, they've been giving him 4 strikes. If that makes sense to you. The pitch. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend, the Oakland A's in Cleveland. Cleveland, this is for you, the great LeBron James. I thought I saw a football game. I'm going to give this score out because it's just a different score. It's like the Big C burger. Like the great Sam Jackson said, this is a tasty burger. If you ever saw the movie Pulp Fiction, Sam Jackson ate the Big C burger. He said, this is a tasty burger. What's all this exotic meat? 17-0. I won't tell you who won. 17-0. Chris Bissett on the mound and Eli Morgan on the mound in that game. The pitch. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend, the Milwaukee Brewers at the Chicago Cubs on the mound. Hunter Strickland from Milwaukee. For the Cubs, it was Kyle Hendricks. All fair 11 war. You know, I love the game in Major League Baseball. Detroit at Baltimore. Matt Manning, John Means on the mound. Texas at Seattle. Mike Folowitz, as well as Marco Gonzalez on the mound. And the final score I'll give out because I really like this team. The pitch. Hit deep. Right field. Back to the wall. Home run. Say hello to my little friend. You have the Boston Red Sox at home versus the Tampa Bay Rays. And sometimes, you know, a lot of guys have hangovers in Boston. Might be more hangovers after this game. I don't give out scores. You don't win them all. You only win the one that you show up for. But that's Major League Baseball, and I really appreciate the scores. How everybody's having fun, hitting deep, going deep into the world of Major League Baseball. I love bringing you things as sports leader, Big C Sports Style. I know a lot of good old boys are checking in for their training camp. You know, they have football. The 49ers play this weekend. They play the Kansas City Chiefs. What a game. Can't wait to see that. A redo of Super Bowl 54. And Kansas City got the better of them in that game. But this is, you know, it's preseason. Doesn't matter what happens. They're trying to try out new talent and new players and seeing if people can boldly go where no one has gone before. We look forward to that. I want to take this on in the last part of Big C Sports. College football, top 25. Again, thoughts and prayers. Alden Smith got in trouble, got into a fist fight because he choked somebody out. Then he got released by the Seattle Seahawks. I guess he doesn't want that multi-million-dollar contract the NFL pays you. He'd rather be tough on the bar and choke somebody out. You have not because you ask not to have somebody keep you in check. College football, you know, I love college football. It's amazing. It's a sport that so many people love. And I know throughout the years, a lot of kids, they make their dreams come true, being the best they can in the world of college football. The great University of Alabama, as we run out of the top 20, maybe I'll go top 25. Number 1, Alabama. Bryce Young steps in for Mac Jones at quarterback. And then you have Bill O'Brien steps in for departed offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian. Otherwise, it's the same old Tide, same old Alabama. 5-star talent, great coaching, and championship expectations. Bryce Young, under center, I-set formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by Georgia. The snap, Bryce Young, back to pass, rolling, looks right, throws downfield. It is caught for the touchdown, Mac Jones. It's a new Mac Jones. But Bryce Young, 50 yards, and Alabama's taking the lead. You hear a lot about that. The great touchdown, the flamethrower, out of Mater Dei High School in Santa Ana, California. That good old boy is a great football player. Number 2 ranked is Clemson. Like the Clemson Tigers of old, the Tigers can overcome the loss of a generation of talent or two, the great quarterback DJ Uiagalelei, a five-star recruit out of St. John Bosco High School in Bellflower, California, also part of the Trinity League, played in the same league with Bryce Young in Mater Dei. In fact, they played each other in high school. When Mater Dei would play St. John Bosco for the Trinity League Championship, the great Bryce Young, he played against DJ Uiagalelei. Clemson comes up to the line of scrimmage. DJ Uiagalelei, shotgun formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by the Georgia Tech Bulldogs. The snap, DJ Uiagalelei rolling to his left, rolling, looks downfield, steps in, throws at the corner of the end zone, and is caught for the touchdown by Mark Hopkins. 50 yards. The great DJ Uiagalelei, he will be playing in the NFL. He will finish out his junior season at Clemson. He's a multi-million-dollar quarterback in the NFL. He's actually better than some quarterbacks who are already on an NFL roster. I'm not making it up. Watch how he plays the game. Oklahoma number 3, the great Spencer Rattler led offense. He sparks for itself. He's an amazing quarterback. It's the immersion of the defense as soon as fans are thinking about a national title. They're not going to win a national title. It would be OU's first title since 2000. Rattler comes up to the line of scrimmage. Shotgun formation. 4 wideouts, 5-man front by Texas. Rattler, the snap, rolling to his right. Rolling. Looks downfield, throws, corner of the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. DJ Ward. 50 yards. The great Spencer Rattler, that good old boy, he will become a first-round draft pick in the NFL, and he knows it. He has NFL written all over him. I wish him nothing but the best. But get your education. Ohio State, a 52-24 championship beatdown at the hands of Alabama was a wake-up call that there's still work to be done in Columbus. Head coach Ryan Day's roster full of 5-star talents that makes coming to work a lot more pleasant. If they get by Oregon, they'll most likely run the table again for the great Ohio State Buckeyes. I don't know who they're going to have starting at quarterback, but I'll just make up Jones. Let's say John Doe, because John Doe's the quarterback. At the Horseshoe in Ohio State, the Buckeyes, 104,000 on hand, up to the line of scrimmage. Shotgun formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by Michigan. The snap, rolling to his right, rolling, looking, throws downfield, and it's caught for the touchdown by Mike Jones, 50 yards. John Doe, his 3rd touchdown of the day. And Jim Harbaugh saying, who's got it better than us? Ohio State got it better than us, is what the crowd says. All spirit in Leavenworth. Georgia, number 5 ranked Georgia, preseason ranked. Big C's thoughts. This is a good football team, the Bulldogs. Here we at another season that Georgia's attempt to knock off the champion Alabama. Alabama's tough to knock off. Quarterback JT Daniels. He's also out of Mater Dei High School, Santa Ana, California. He also played in the Trinity League. Think about this. In the top 5 preseason, this is how good California football is. In the top 5 of the United States Power 5, in the top 5, 3 of the quarterbacks, they're from California. Southern California. The Trinity League. The same high school league. Either Mater Dei or St. John Bosco. JT Daniels went to Mater Dei. He got beat out by Keenan Slovis at USC, but he went to Georgia and he starts at Georgia after losing his starting job at USC. JT Daniels, 80,000 at Georgia. Georgia taking on Alabama. Comes up to the line of scrimmage, shotgun formation. 4 wideouts, 5-man front. The snap, Daniels back to pass. Rolling, looking, throws downfield at the end zone. Caught for the touchdown! Marcus Davis, JT Daniels, 50 yards. 50 yards. And they score a touchdown. And Georgia trails by 14. Right before the half. Because Alabama's just that good. You can have an All-American quarterback, to be a first-rounder, and you can't beat Alabama. Because Nick Saban has more paper bags than anybody else in the SEC. All fair level war. Texas A&M preseason number 6. The defense will still be the Aggie strength this year, and that's a good thing in the suddenly offensive-minded SEC. They're copying the Pac-12. They throw the ball like Don Carriel back in the day. Or like Pete Carroll, second and goal on the 1-yard line in the Super Bowl with the best running back in the NFL behind you. Pass it! Crazy. You can Google it, it's true. With players like Andy Marvin Leal and safety Leon O'Neal Jr., the Aggies hope to prove that the defense can still win. Their quarterback is a secret as John Doe at Kyle Stadium. 102,000 on hand. I said formation. I'll just call him John Doe. Comes up to the line of scrimmage. Has 4 wideouts. I said formation. 5-man front. Let's just say they're playing LSU. The snap. Rolling to his right. Rolling, looking downfield. It is caught at the corner of the end zone for a touchdown by David Mack. And Kyle Field, I think they all stand up and cheer the whole time. What a great football environment down at Texas A&M. They'll be in the thick of things. But as good as they are, they're still only picked 3rd in the SEC. They always disappoint. I want to go to the Midwest. Iowa State, number 7, the Cyclones. Welcome back 19 starters, including a pair of Heisman candidates and quarterback Brock Purdy and running back Breece Hall. That Brock Purdy and Breece Hall is amazing. Built something special in Ames, Iowa. Coach Campbell and the Cyclones up to the line of scrimmage. Brock Purdy. They have shotgun formation, 4 wideouts. There's a 5-man front by Texas. We'll call it Texas, even though they're in the Big 12. Yeah, they're in the same conference by Texas. The snap, rolling to his right, rolling. Purdy throws downfield. It is caught in the end zone for a touchdown by Matt Jones. Purdy, 50 yards. And I'm telling you, Iowa State takes the lead. That's a good team, but with a running back like Breece Hall, just turn around and hand the ball off. He's not Archie Griffin, but that good old boy is a good running back. I want to bring in my pick for number 8 in the country. Oregon head coach Mario Cristobal out of the Pac-12 has his quarterback situation under control thanks to Boston College transfer Anthony Brown, who will be playing in the NFL soon. He's just a great athlete. And there's reason to be excited about the rest of the offense, too. If the defense can keep opponents in check, the Ducks ought to make a strong argument for the Final Four. Their game against Ohio State is for all the marbles. Usually these two teams play in the Rose Bowl. Up to the line of scrimmage. This good old boy. The house is rocking in Oregon. Anthony Brown, I-set formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by UCLA. The snap. Brown rolling out to his right, rolling, looks downfield, throws the corner of the end zone. It is caught for the touchdown. DJ Ward, 50 yards. Anthony Brown, the transfer from Boston College, he will be playing in the NFL. But if they can beat Ohio State and run the table, they have a chance for the College Football National Championship. Final in the top 10, I'm going to bring in North Carolina quarterback Sam Howell is a Heisman Trophy candidate and potentially a top draft choice. He's surrounded by depth and talent. Mac Brown has a great team this year. He's not good as Vince Young back in the day, but they come up to the line of scrimmage. 4 wideouts, I-set formation, Boston College on defense. The snap, he's rolling to his right. Rolling, he plants, throws downfield, has a man open, corner of the end zone, it is caught for the touchdown! Anthony Davis, 50 yards! What a great pass by Sam Howell. He will play in the NFL. You heard it first on Big C Sports. I'm going to bring you one more for Big C's top 10. Notre Dame returns to its independent status this year after using the ACC as a springboard because of COVID-19. The Irish also welcome a new quarterback in Wisconsin transfer Jake Cohn. That good old boy is amazing, who will have to keep the chains moving while a rebuilt offensive line finds its footing. They will find a good offensive line. There's nothing like at Notre Dame you play like a champion. Up to the line of scrimmage, 80,000 at Notre Dame, play like a champion. Jack Cohn up to the line of scrimmage, shotgun formation, 4 wideouts, 5-man front by, let's just say, Boston College. The snap, Cohn rolling to his right, rolling, throws downfield, corner of the end zone, it is caught for the touchdown! Rocket Ismail! He came back out of retirement, the great Rocket Ismail. He gets a touchdown for Notre Dame. 50 yards! And Notre Dame has taken the lead. All Sparrow and Level War. That's Big C Sports. ESPY nominated, no producer, no teleprompter. No script writers. Nobody telling me what to say in my ear. But we will win the ESPYs 2021. This is Charlton with Big C Sports. It's all fair and love and war. I love bringing to you things that are going on in the world of sports. Everybody keep your heads up. Proof of COVID-19 vaccinations or negative tests required to attend New Orleans Saints football games. Minnesota Vikings, first-round draft pick, Christian Darrisaw, has second surgery on his groin. I know what it's like to have a groin injury. NFL training camp, a lot of quarterbacks doing their well. The Dolphins and Bears practice. Triple for the Ravens. And more teams are trying to keep players safe. Prescott's back in the saddle for the Cowboys. Dallas Cowboys, they need him. 49ers to play both Jimmy Garoppolo and Trey Lance in their preseason opener against the Kansas City Chiefs. It's all fair and level war. I want every young African-American boy, as you're going up to school, Angie Stone, Google her song. It's called Black Brother. It's called Black Brother. Google it, play it, read it. Play it for every young black boy. There's no reason that we should leave the criminal justice system in mass incarceration. 90% of us are put there by white men. Be careful, because mainstream oftentimes can call the police on you and get you in trouble for something you did not do. Google it. Follow Big C Sports. You can follow Big C Sports 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on the #1 podcast network in the universe, iHeartRadio podcast. You can follow Big C Sports on Apple Podcasts. You can follow Big C Sports on Google Podcasts. Back in the day, there's a man by the name of Drew Bourdini Brown. He was known as Muhammad Ali's right-hand man, and he would always tell Ali, you float like a butterfly, you sting like a bee. Rumble, young man, rumble. With all you've got to use, how can you lose? As my mama always says, there's never ever an excuse for racism or domestic violence. If you know any man, woman, or child going through that garbage, please pick up the phone and ask for help. Because no man, woman, or child should ever go through some type of intimidation on their own. As we always tell you, my mama always says, on every Big C Sports show, we thank you, we appreciate you, and we hope that you have a super fantastic day.